if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Muxiang. This year, I have a plan, I have a goal to interview the people who are inspiring to me. Today, I have the honor and to invite my English learning peer, friend, and sister from Russia. And I met her through an English learning program last year. Let's welcome Katya. Hi, Katya. It's been such a pleasure to learn English with you and also share the community with you. And I saw how much you have contributed to the Hardashamish community and how much you have helped so many students from around the world. And I'm one of them. I felt really touched by how much you care. And so it's my privilege to be able to interview you. Would you like to share a little bit about your background and including your English journey?
Yes, of course. First of all, Muxiang, for me, it's a great pleasure to be on your podcast and on your YouTube channel. And it's a privilege to me to get to know you thanks to English because I like English so much. I'm sharing this passion with you and with other people in the world. And I'm so thankful and I'm so honored to be your guest today. And a little bit about me, like you already said, I am in Russia. I live in Russia. I've been living in Russia my whole life. I've never been abroad. And I'm a passionate English learner. This is what I would say about myself. And a little bit about my English journey. My English journey started 6 years ago when I knew the news at my job that I could be promoted if I could speak English, because we would want, at that time, my boss wanted to launch um, the program in English. And he said that those professors who would be able to teach in English would have better salary and would be promoted. And I told myself, oh, this is my opportunity to be promoted. But also, I was really into English when I was at school, but it was not my priority at that time. I was not putting that much effort, and I didn't have, a good teacher. And of course, conventional education at schools is just terrible. And I never had any chance to work on my English at that time. But 6 years ago, when I knew about it, I decided, okay, this is my time. And I signed up for local English school, and I've been studying there for 3 years. And then 3 years ago, I came across Hadar Shemesh YouTube videos, and I fell in love with this woman because she is really passionate about English. And also, I feel that she's really into pronunciation and prosody. And I got very inspired by all the content that she puts on YouTube and everywhere. And I told myself, maybe I need to study pronunciation and prosody too. And that's how I signed up for a new sound course. Then I joined Beyond. Then I was invited to be an ambassador for future new sound courses. And that's how I met you a year ago. And I'm so happy to get to know you because you're an incredible person. You're so sensitive. This is what I would say about you. You're very kind, and it's an honor for me to get to know people like you in the whole world, thanks to English. So this is a little bit about me.
Yeah, I feel grateful for the opportunity to meet inspiring and also compassionate people like you too. Your journey definitely is so inspiring because for many of us who have the privilege live in the country where we are able to speak to the English native speakers and to practice our English daily, it's a lot easy for us to master English. Then it's a new language, especially for people who started learning a language when they are already an adult. But you definitely find a way to prepare, and like how you have been now, you speak so fluently and so comfortably and so confidently. which is something that many of us can find the inspiration from. And so how you maintain your motivation? I know you in the beginning is trying to get the promotion, and then later you really found the passion in it. But how can you maintain this type of passion? Because learning something and you don't really need it in life, it's really hard to maintain this type of consistency and keep going on.
First of all, thank you so much for your great compliments about my English. It's very, I'm very happy to hear about it. And about motivation, I think it's a kind of a hard question because every time when people ask me about it, I don't really have a complete and clear answer. I would say there are many small reasons involved, and each one of them plays their role. I would say one of the biggest reasons why I'm so passionate about English and why it's so easy for me to keep motivated is that I'm just fully in love with the melody of American English. I can't even explain. I know that some people like listening to music. Some people are really into pop music. Other people are really into rock. Some people listen to classical music. I'm not that kind of a person who is really into music, but I'm really into the melody of American English. I don't have the explanation why, but whenever I'm listening to native speakers speak, I feel that, oh, this is something that makes me happy. This is something that I can connect with. This is something that I can resonate with. And I feel that this melody just vibrates inside of me. And I had started feeling it even before I started learning how to pronounce words right, or how to acquire this melody of American English. I just felt I like it, and I was just consuming content because I loved it. And at a certain point, I had been sure that it's just impossible to speak like native speakers and have the same pronunciation and prosody. And so that's why I got so inspired by Hadar's story, because she's not a native speaker, but she speaks like a native. And I told myself, if she can do it, I can do it myself too. And so now when I've worked on my pronunciation and prosody, it was a hard work, and it was very upsetting and frustrating sometimes. But seeing my results and my progress, I think that was one of the keys in my motivation and in my passion. Because when you see your results, this is what keeps you on track. This is what helps you to continue going to your end goal. This would be the first one. And the second reason I would say is that thanks to English, I have the access to the best things in the world. Because if you're limited by your native language, you're going to be limited in content too. You're going to be watching movies that are translated to your language. You're going to be reading books that are translated to your language. You're going to be listening to speakers only if they have translation to your native language. And if nothing of it exists, you basically you don't have the access. You can't watch movies, you can't listen to best speakers, you can't read books. And I'm so happy that I have this access. And this is what motivates me to continue, because I want to be on track with the whole world. I want to listen to the best speakers, best motivational speakers in the world. I want to read books. I want to watch movies and TV shows that everyone watches in the world. And so that's why I'm so passionate about English too. And the last reason is, I would say, people, because I think people who study a second language, any second language, they're unique because they have broader mindset, they think differently, they're more open to see and to accept differences in other people. And I don't know, I would say they are just interesting people. And when you have the opportunity to speak with them, you are learning every time something from them. And so I'm very happy when I have this opportunity to speak to you, for example, or to another person in our communities, this is what makes me happy, and this is what helps me to stay motivated and inspired. That's what makes me happy, because I would say this is the best part of my day, when I come home after my work and I connect with the internet, and I finally can speak in English with someone else, and getting better every day. Yeah, so this is
Yeah,
what I would.
that's just amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. It's to find the passion in English, and also to be able to connect with the world because of this access, and also being able to connect with people from around the world just through this language. I totally get it. It's a powerful tool for us. It's a window that opened so many opportunities and possibilities just through this language. And I agree with you. When I saw Hadar on YouTube, I felt the same way. I said, I gave up that idea of being able to speak fluently like a native English speaker. And in many years, I thought that's impossible. Even though I live with my husband and my daughter who are native English speakers, but at some time I would feel I was an outsider because I couldn't speak exactly or speak at the same level as them. But when I saw Hadar's YouTube channel, and then I thought she could do that. I can do that too. And then when I got into the program, when I saw you, when you were the ambassador, I thought Katya could do that. And she lives in Russia, who has never left the country to another English speaking country. And if she could do that, I could do that too. So your presence in that community really provided a great motivation for many people. And you are a great inspiration to all of us in that community. And also your active participation and heartfelt contribution, we all could feel it. I felt that. And you would really spend time to respond to each one of us problems, challenges. I still remember there was one time I shared my struggle, misunderstanding happened in my life. I was hurt, and you spent time to record to comfort me. That moment was really meaningful to me. And thank you. Even though we're so far away physically, but I felt so connected with you.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
yeah. So, what's your English learning routine daily? How do you manage that? I know the other three main part are the big reasons, but what really have made this consistent, made your
Okay.
learning journey?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great question, because when I joined New Sound and I started following Hadar more, I realized that I had been actually wrong with some of my techniques that I was using before. Because before Hadar, I had been mainly doing a lot of input, and I barely was doing any output. So I had been mainly consuming a lot of content. I was reading, I was watching, I was not even really listening. I was not at that time into listening to podcasts, but I was watching a lot of videos, but I was not speaking. But since I joined Hadar and I started following her pieces of advice, I realized how much of um, input I had, and how little I had output. And I decided not to change it, not to shift it completely, but I have been trying to find this kind of a balance that would work for me. And I feel that I found it. So every day I spend around 1 hour practicing my pronunciation and prosody. So I developed for myself a certain kind of routine, how I work on sounds, how I work on phrases, on connected speech. how I work on my prosody, and I'm very happy with that. And it's now a very strong habit. And so every day for me, it's not a burden. It's not something that I see like a big responsibility and I don't like it. It's something that is just a part of my routine. I just do it. And since I have the results of my routine, I'm very happy. And I never question myself whether I should do it or not. And
Mhm.
another part of my daily routine is output. So I try to speak every day, and thanks to Hadar and all her communities, New Sound, Beyond, and also Influency community, I have the opportunity to speak daily, whether it's a conversation group that I join as a participant, or maybe I host a conversation group, maybe I speak one-on-one, scheduling conversations with someone, but I make sure that I speak for at least 1 hour daily. There are, of course, days when I don't feel okay, when I don't feel well, when I feel that I'm a little bit tired. But on those days, I just talk to myself. And I think talking to yourself and recording yourself is a really great tool. And this is something that I also learned from Hadar. So this is my output. And another thing that I like, I try to expose myself as much as I can to native, uh, to the content that is done by native speakers. And so I do it mainly by listening to podcasts. I like doing it. So every time when I have a little bit of spare minute, I just plug in my AirPods and I start listening to my favorite podcasts. And I feel that it's also very important. So if you constantly trying to expose yourself to native speakers speak, gradually it's just coming to your speech too. So you have this balance. So you listen every day, but also you speak every day. And sometimes I can use some words and some phrases that I hadn't been intended to use deliberately, but it just happens occasionally. I just speak about something and that this conversation triggers something in my mind. And I just use that phrase or that word that I heard maybe on a podcast or maybe on a certain video. So this is how my routine looks like. And I truly enjoy it. I would say the main idea here is that I truly enjoy my routine and I have this kind of balance when I don't push myself too much. But at the same time, I have this practice time and I truly enjoy entertain myself when I can be a little bit passive doing something in English. Yeah.
That's amazing. The best thing you can do is you forget about time and you really enjoy everything, enjoy being in the process. And definitely your routine and you are consistent. And our practice is amazing. I know many people couldn't find time, but I know we have the same amount of time as my first speaker said. It's all about how we manage our energy and our focus. And you definitely prioritize your things very well. And I also saw you have been hosting conversation groups and some free trainings for people. And every time when I was able to see your presentation, you were well prepared, and the content was so meaningful and valuable. I just felt it's such a privilege for everyone to be able to know you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, but I truly enjoy every time when I do something for other people in English. I enjoy it myself because I learned something preparing that presentation, that conversation group, maybe book club. I put in this effort, I practice before I go into conversation group. And I feel that it's helpful for me too, because it pushes me forward, it challenges me, and it helps me to level up my English, to bring everything one level higher. Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, your English level is better than many many people who speak English, I believe, because you really keep learning and keep reading and learn something that you may not even realize. And then you already absorbed those essence of the language. And yeah. So since English is not something you really need to use every day in your job, I know you are a professor in a university, right? And but in Russia, so what your friends and your family say about your constant hobby and learning English? Do they have any? Do they judge you? Have you received any of this kind of obstacles from people around you?
I think it's a very interesting question. So unfortunately, in my surrounding, I don't have anyone who speaks English or who would be even interested in speaking about English.
Yeah.
So it's something that really frustrates me because it's something that I'm passionate about and I have this need to speak about it with other people. But as soon as I start speaking about it, for example, with my friends or with my colleagues, they listen politely, but they are not getting engaged into the conversation. So they just switch. So as soon as they have this opportunity, they just switch to something else and they don't continue the conversation. So I stop trying to speak with them about it because I know that it's not something that is interesting to them. Sometimes, when I speak my native language, I can have one word or two words in English that are just coming out occasionally by itself.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes a little bit embarrassing. And that's when sometimes people can laugh at me a little bit. And I feel uncomfortable in those situations, but it doesn't really happen so often. And I try to convince myself that it's actually a good thing. It's something that is getting natural to me, and it's not something that everyone experiences. So when it comes to my family, it's also interesting because at the beginning, when I started investing a lot of time into English, they didn't like it because obviously I started devoting less time to them. But I think after some time, seeing that I'm just happy doing many things in English and I'm so passionate about it, they changed their opinion and now they support me. So if I have a session in English or if I am going to speak to someone in English, they don't get offended and they just allow me to do all these things that I'm passionate about, and they just patiently wait when I will be free to speak with them. So, and I'm very happy that I have this support from my family. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely our determination can define the attitude of how people see us. I totally get that because in the beginning, when I was obsessed about learning English to master English, because in their opinion, in our family's opinion, you can get by them is good enough. But to us, it's not enough. We want to feel free completely. We want to be able to express ourselves freely, completely. And then, so I was obsessed too in the beginning. My family couldn't understand. When I practice, even now, when I practice, they thought it's a little bit annoying. So I have to go to another room, or that's why I have my routine to practice English is in the morning when I take a morning walk. So I practice English. And also, of course, I have the privilege is that I work at a company and I'm a project manager. So I speak English every day. However, whenever I need to practice English, those repetition could be boring to people around me. So my family couldn't stand that. But same thing, now they support me. If I have some schedule, they just support me to do what I like public speaking, Toastmaster, and English learning. Yeah, so definitely we just keep our determination strong. So
Yeah.
You touched a little bit about your family, but I haven't really heard a lot about your family. Do you mind to share a little bit about your family?
I don't have a family that I live with. So I have my sister that is living in the same town where I live. And so we usually meet maybe once or twice a week, mainly during weekends. And I have my parents who live in a different town. And so I need to go there by plane or by train. But you know, when I visit my parents, for example, I always keep my routine. So I maybe it's strange, maybe it's something that I shouldn't be doing, but I feel that, you know, I shouldn't allow myself uh, you know, to get loose even when I'm traveling somewhere, even when I'm visiting some people. It doesn't take so much time, you know. If I travel to my parents, I have 24 hours during the day to spend this time with them, and so I can do my English for 1 hour, 2 hours, and then I have a whole day long to spend with them, and I think it's totally enough. And I try to schedule this time at a time when they already sleep, maybe, or they're getting ready to sleep, or maybe they're doing something else during the day. Yeah, but I don't have anyone who I'm living with. So for me, it's honestly speaking, it's quite easy, you know, to go with my routine comparing to people who have their children, who have a husband or a wife. I totally understand that it might be much more complicated in this case. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely there are pros and counts living with family or not. But definitely you managed your time and your routine very well. Being self-disciplined is a great skill to have, to be able to achieve whatever you put your mindset to. So
Yeah.
what's your future learning, English learning or English journey goal? Do you have any plans how you are going to better utilize English in life?
It's a great question. So since I don't need to use English at my work or anyone anywhere else, I'm just thinking, what can I do for myself, learning English? And so I definitely have this idea in my mind that I want to sound like a native speaker, but not because I have something against having an accent. I'm just passionate about it.
Yes.
And I like challenging myself. I like setting up some maybe ambitious goals, and I like, you know, pushing myself in order to reach those goals. And I truly enjoy right now all the things that I learn on my journey towards those goals. So I think what I'm gonna continue doing is that I'm gonna continue trying to reach my goal, that is to be able to sound like a native speaker in terms of prosody and in terms of pronunciation, and having a great example as our teacher and mentor Hadar. I definitely believe that I can reach this goal, and I have all the tools, and I'm very disciplined, like you said. So I'm sure that I do everything that is helping me to reach my goal. And my second one would be, and it's a little bit different from just sounding like a native speaker, I would like to kind of level up the way how I speak in English in terms of what kind of vocabulary I use. I would like to use more sophisticated vocabulary, but not in order to show off, but just in order to be able to express my ideas a little bit clearer, and you know, just to have this variety and that choice um, to choose from when I speak. And I would love definitely to use more complicated grammar structures. You know, there was some time in my past when I was just learning using conventional methods when I was really into grammar. And I know grammar like pretty well, and including complicated grammar, but I don't really feel confident using this grammar. And so this is what I'd like to be able to do. So I would like to be sounding like a smart, eloquent, influential speaker in English. This is something that I actually can't really do in my native language, but it's just not my goal in my native language. I can speak about my work, it's okay. But when it comes to general topics, and not pretty usual topics that we discuss in our communities, I think I wouldn't be able to explain myself well in my native language. But I can do it in English, and I think I can do it even better than I do now. Um, all of these things in English, and so this is my goal. So the first one would be more about pronunciation and prosody, and the second one, just to be a better speaker and to be able to express myself in a better way. So just it's more about, you know, self development, self improving, and be happy with yourself, and getting, it's about getting better every day, like by 1% or whatever. But it's just learning. I like learning. I would say that I'm a curious person. I like learning new things. I truly enjoy the studying process, so that's why probably it's so easy to me. Yeah, so these would be my two goals that I have now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Your mindset, how you see learning resonated with me so much. I enjoy the learning process. I enjoy seeing the progress. And that's why I have been doing my daily vlogs and also learning something. I just have this strong belief, as long as I take one step at a time, I will see the progress. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but down the line, I will see the progress and see the result. So
Yeah.
definitely you are ongoing learning mindset and also self-learning, self-improvement mindset, and also finding the fulfillment in life, not only to utilize something, but maybe you use that to contribute to some other greater goals. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, have you thought about traveling overseas since you have this? To me, your English is flawless, and
Oh,
you
thank
speak so eloquently and so confidently without any trouble. And so I don't see that. I almost thought you don't have any room to improve because your English is so good already. So with your English fluency is so good, and are you planning to travel somewhere and where the people speak English?
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated in because of the world situation
Yeah.
right now. Definitely, it's something that I really want to do, because it's one thing, you know, to speak online with people from different countries, but it's totally another thing when you put yourself in an environment where you're surrounded totally by native speakers, and you don't have any opportunity to switch into your native language. And when you find yourself in a new environment where you need to manage your way totally by yourself, um, relying only on your communication skills and your listening skills, definitely I see it like a good challenge for me, and I'm looking forward to experiencing it, and I hope that one day it will be possible for me, because I really would like to use my English in real life. Yeah, it's my dream for now.
Yeah, I hope that day will come soon. I would love to meet with you in person. It's
Yeah, me
just
too.
such a pleasure to even having this opportunity to speak with you online. I am very grateful for internet. It brought people closer, and no matter where we're from, no matter what kind of backgrounds we are from, but when we share something in common about learning, about con contributing the positive impact on others, this all brought us closer and more connected. So hopefully one day we will have the opportunity to meet in person again. I think it's about at our end of our interview. Do you have anything else you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, so what I would like to tell everyone who's listening right now, I would say just find your passion that you would be able to do in English. So maybe you like reading books. So read books in English and forget about your native language. If you like, I don't know, watching movies, if you have a certain podcast that is made by a person who speaks English, just make it something that is important for you. Find something that you're truly enjoying. So maybe you're learning about business, maybe you're learning about singing, crocheting, I don't know, whatever you are interested in, just make a point to learn it in English. And that's how you can combine two things together. And that's how everything gets so much easier. And I think this is one of the keys, because just learning the language, I think it's a little bit pointless. So you have to do it for something. And so you need to have another something that you're very passionate about and you're truly enjoying. And this thing, and you need to convince yourself, okay, this thing is the best in English, so that's why I have to do it in English. And so that's how English is not going to be an obstacle for you, but it's going to be a tool that allows you to succeed in whatever you are interested in and you would like to level up your life. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your English learning journey with our audience. You have become a light in my life. I have been looking up to you since I met you in the English learning community. And I'm sure many people who are watching now, they feel the same way. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your experiences, and your unique perspective of English. So thank you, Katya. Thank you for being on my show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Muxiang. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my privilege. You are doing a great thing because you're helping other English learners. And I am privileged to be a part of your journey. And I'm privileged to be a part of that great thing that you're doing right now for other people on this podcast. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure for me to be here today.
Thank you, Katya.
Thank
Continue
you.
being the light to people. Thank you.
Thank you.